Welcome back, everybody, to another Two Guys and One Mic. This is Nick,
And this is Cody.
and we are talking about... What are we talking about?
We're talking about abstract human theories today. A little bit
Abstract
broad.
human theories. That could mean, like, all sorts of things. We kind of just jotted down some concepts that we tend to talk about on our own. And the first one that we wrote down as kind of a cliff note here was the idea of, like, artificial intelligence, AI. I feel like that's a really popular talking point for a lot of like young people. I mean, I know it is for Cody and I. And we were just kind of talking about like where do we see it going? Because Cody and we're computer science majors, so we're kind of surrounded by code a lot, and just kind of want to talk about where we see that potentially going in the future. What do you think, Cody?
Yeah, we might have a little bit of differing opinions on this. Because I know I probably have a not popular opinion on AI at least.
And what is that?
So you know how like self-driving cars are coming out? That's probably like the most like closest thing we are to like full AI or like
Right.
robots or whatever.
Yeah.
But I personally I don't want that to happen because I think we're just gonna essentially become. There was that movie with all the fat people on like Earth. They weren't on Earth. They were on that planet. It was like a cartoon movie.
Yeah, no.
Wall-E.
That was it. Yeah, Wall-E. Yeah.
Wall-E. I feel like
Yeah.
the more AI comes out, like the more like our society as a whole, not just as Americans, but like everybody's just gonna become more lazy and lazy because all the like the tedious jobs that we need to do, we're not gonna do, and we're not gonna want to work out either. Like, why would we work out if we can't even like drive our own car?
Right. Well, one thing that
I guess that's not really unpopular. Everybody probably feels
no,
that
yeah,
way.
no. I was gonna say. I mean, I kind of, I think there is definitely the positive end to artificial intelligence, like robots running everything and doing a lot of stuff for us. But another thing I wanted to add to your kind of the cons of the situation, I wanted to add that there's probably a good argument to be made that as artificial intelligence does things like driving cars, if there were robotic like waiters and waitresses, that would really knock out a lot of kind of a lot of minimum wage jobs, a lot of jobs that people do. I feel like that would, as the population increases and then the demand for labor,
Jobs, yeah.
right, goes down. I feel like that could be a tough situation. Like, think about the trucking industry employs millions of people, but if they were to automate, highway trucks, those freight movers, that would put out a lot of people out of jobs. There's definitely some negatives.
Well, it's funny that you bring up like truck driving or whatever, because like Tesla obviously has started that.
That's kind of what I was alluding to.
But it's funny because I heard some crazy statistic that over like 60% of the truck drivers are like undocumented, like people that don't do their taxes or anything. So
Really?
It's kind of like like edge short because
Yeah.
I mean everybody hears about like the stay away from truck drivers at these rest areas because
Right.
they might steal your kids or something and
Right.
and essentially most of them are like that.
Right.
I not specifically like steal your kids, but they're just not like good people. They're not.
Right.
It's not to be a truck driver. It's kind of difficult. I'm not like bashing like if your father was a truck driver. Like
No, it's a demanding role.
it's
I
a
mean,
tough job. Like
yeah, you have to stay on the road all the time. You have to stay away from your family.
and like it's mindless in that fact, but you still have to pay attention. Like
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of responsibility as something that could potentially like destroy other cars. So
kill people.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, but what I also wanted to add to that on that note of kind of automating simple jobs, that's actually been going on though.
Our before us. That's
Right,
what happened.
and yeah, exactly. And what I like, for example, they used to have it where when you would call somebody long distance,
Okay.
I
was literally just
right,
thinking
yeah.
that.
I mean, I feel like that's a pretty well-known one. When you would call people long distance, you would have people, kind of the middlemen who would connect your calls. I forget what they call them. Do you know what they?
I even before that, there used to
Oh,
have
yeah,
to be like
for sure.
Used to have people like connecting every single call, like
Right,
telegrams,
every single- right.
telegrams or whatever.
Just I can't even think of the term. It's on the tip of my tongue. But regardless, the people that would connect your calls for you, that was a lot of employees, a lot of low income jobs or just simple jobs that people would do. And as soon as they automated that process, that wiped out a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
However, what it did, without a doubt, is it probably created a lot of higher end, more demanding jobs. To automate that process required a lot of engineers
Oh yeah,
and a lot of like higher, skilled working to go on.
for maintenance. Yep.
So I just think like that with that in combination, as more things get automated, more things get brought up to speed and automated, it's going to kind of ruin some lower paid jobs and up some of the skilled work. So I think just my perspective is, in this day and age, as things progress, it's more and more important to go to college and get a skill, something that's really tangible.
Oh, we've talked about that before. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important.
But yeah, so I guess we have like a few these tests that are happening right now. Specifically, Amazon. They opened up their They're opening up their first store. I don't know if it's open yet in like Seattle, where it's a completely personless store, no employees.
Mm-hmm.
You pretty much just connect yourself to the app and you pay through everything through there, and you walk out and there's like scanners or whatever.
Right.
That's how it works. So I guess we'll just see how, if these keep popping up, like if this is like a good
Right. If it works out, I mean,
I guess we'll see how
it
it
could
is.
catch fire across the world, over time. In the next 50 years, you could see, stores that run themselves and cars that drive themselves. And these are, I don't mean to, like you said, bash anybody who does that sort of work, but they are jobs that can be automated, and really, eventually, when you go to McDonald's, you don't need to pay an employee. You can just pay a machine that knows
Oh
how
yeah,
to
they
do
already
it.
have those.
I know that's that's why I mentioned McDonald's. McDonald's is kind of working towards that as well. So it's just like, where do we see the human race? This is why it applies to this concept. Is 100 years from now, automation can take out a lot of employees. So there is some definite negatives.
Because probably I would say about I have no clue, but a lot of these employees that are doing the minimum wage jobs are high school, college students who are
Right.
trying to get by, trying to get some money. Maybe you're in high school, your parents won't buy you a car, so you're
Right.
just trying to make some money to get a car.
Right. I wanted to bring one more thing on top of that, like you just said. It is the kind of common grounds for people in high school to get jobs, but
It's gonna be really hard.
yeah, I mean, it's going to make it a lot harder. But there was also this other thing that I wanted to mention. The automation. So we're talking about the negatives right now. One positive that comes to mind is the fact that over the last couple hundred years, as technology has improved so exponentially, the standard of living has also gone up for the people, even the people that are having their jobs taken. The standard of living for a poor person today, I heard this recently, was better than a rich person in the 1920s.
Oh yeah, it's the
So,
greatest time to be alive right now.
Right, and it's ever improving as things get automated. It takes a lot of it automates jobs that are dangerous, automates jobs that are unskilled. And for it's almost hard to even debate whether or not that will happen from an employer standpoint, right? If you can pay to have let's say you pay, I don't know, $40,000 a year for a person to run your cashier, or a cashier to run your cash register.
They make mistakes.
Right, they make mistakes, they complain, they come in late.
They might quit.
Right, and they have 8-hour shifts or 12-hour shifts at max, right? So from an employer standpoint, let's say on the flip side, you could spend $100,000 to install this new
A 10-year
automated,
robot.
or 100 years, who knows?
Yeah.
Once it works, and it works 24 hours a day. And once you pay that fee once, you don't pay insurance on it. You don't. From an employer standpoint, it's a one-time investment that would pay itself off tenfold. In theory.
Oh, and I could see situations in gas stations, because obviously probably the most robberies you see are gas station robberies. Somebody's going up to the
absolutely, that's
gas
another
station
idea. Yeah.
And like, I mean, with a robot, like, how you gonna steal from a robot? Like,
Exactly. You pull up and it does everything, and
I mean, I guess
that could be an idea. Automated.
Have you ever played
fueling.
Watch Dogs?
No, I haven't.
Watch Dogs was kind of like this guy. You play as a character with a cell phone who like pretty much can do everything on a cell phone.
Yeah.
And I wonder, like, in the future, if we're gonna be like smart enough to come up with like EMP like signals to do that with robots.
That's another point. I mean, it's interesting. It's really one of those topics that you can just kind of let your
Oh, there's a lot of
you
ifs.
let it go. You can really talk about it. But yeah, AI. I mean, without a doubt, I think that's where humans will be heading. I mean,
whether we like it or not.
right. And what we've talked about so far is kind of automation and removal of jobs and higher standard of living, that sort of thing. But there's also the obvious one that people always talk about is, what if we program AI to be these, I don't know if anybody's familiar with the robot Sophia. I think I told you briefly about Sophia.
Is that the sex robot?
No, no. Sophia is a for you Star Wars fans, it's like a C-3PO. She's like a emotional. She's like being programmed, and I say she, which is scary. But if you look up a picture of Sophia and you watch a video of Sophia, the robot, she is alarmingly human. She looks human. She has like artificial skin and all, and she can hold conversations very well. She's very emotionally intelligent, and she's getting better day by day. So, obviously there's always that topic that people love to bring up, and that's that what if robots get too smart for their own good and they realize that the human race is cancerous to this planet,
Oh, what you're talking about is iRobot.
Exactly.
The whole plot of iRobot.
Yeah, hopefully Will Smith can save us then, But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you think on that? Like, do you think robots would ever get to that point where they would see humans as a negative
I mean,
thing?
the whole idea with that is that humans make mistakes, so humans are destroying the environment. Humans are doing all these bad things that we're going to continue to do regardless.
Right.
And if you just get rid of humans, then the Earth's fine. And I mean, see, there's got to be some kind of end goal there that I don't think robots would do that.
Right.
I don't even know if we're gonna be. I don't think we're gonna be alive to have robots like that intense.
Oh, you don't think we're gonna be alive? What?
I mean, like us specifically, like us 20-year-olds.
Oh,
I don't think
yeah,
within
no.
like
Yeah,
60
okay.
years it's gonna
That's
be like
fair.
totally within our society. Because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of pushback.
I think so too. Like
Just
a lot
because
of
of all these negatives.
legal issues and people kind of conservative on the issue, and they're not going to be so progressive as to let robots run everything. But as they also talk about the idea that robots will be able to kind of self-program, and I think they're already doing that with the machine learning stuff, and they are making the robots so that they can program and learn from their interactions.
It kind of takes away like our standard of living, I would say, though.
What do you mean?
Because we're like, to recreate a brain has to be very difficult. Probably, I don't think that'll ever happen.
Do you think it's possible? Do you think it's possible to reprogram a human brain?
I mean,
I mean, it's an interesting question.
I don't really know.
I mean, it's an interesting question. Like, my opinion is,
like our own brains. Like, I thought you meant like make,
no.
a brain.
I just mean like, I don't know. I don't know if you could call a standard brain, but just a human brain that's functions similarly to the average human.
Yeah, well, they're already messing with DNA like within like the fetus. So like, if you want a kid that's gonna be like 6 foot, they'll fix that for you, which is crazy. Cause
yeah, that is crazy.
Because we're like, and like within the 10 years, I think that's gonna kick off. Because in China, it's already like it's hitting like a storm right there.
Well, they might be a little bit sick of being short.
Oh yeah, I mean Yao Ming, all those other.
I mean, I can tell you, I'm sick of being short. I mean, fuck.
I don't. Over time, though, our society has become shorter, which I don't think is a problem.
Yeah.
But we've become bigger, like wise, like body mass.
Yeah, I mean the whole.
I think I don't even know.
I mean the whole. I just feel like it's an open-ended question. What they can do, what they can manipulate to humans, what they can, with all this automation, artificial intelligence, we mentioned the other day the idea of you know we were talking about like replacing organs. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
Talking about replacing organs with artificial.
yeah. I guess would you categorize it as AI or just?
Well, I just think it's along the lines of technology advancing so fast. It's crazy. I mean, just
I mean, that aspect I think will be probably wonderful because that'll probably, I mean, not to sound like a cynic or over here or whatever, but
yeah,
we're gonna be to the point in like probably like a little over 100 years, I would say, to where we all like the only thing we're gonna need is our brain, and then like we'll be able to live forever, pretty much, which is scary because
that's
like
crazy. I mean,
because
well, like honestly,
our footprints are gonna be like huge because like
yeah. I mean, I can relate this. I can relate this to AI. I can relate it back to AI because the idea is, are the robots gonna? This is my opinion. Are the robots going to be the ones that they evolve from us, or are we going to evolve into something, like artificial
I think
intelligence?
more likely of that.
Right. So I think so too because I think, teenagers being on their phones all the time. I think that's just the very beginning of how technology is integrating with us every day more and more. I think that in 100 years or 200 years or whatever the time frame, I think that technology will become so much, we'll become so dependent on it that we'll become, almost part of it. We'll have eventually prosthetic legs and better and better. I mean, they already do. But imagine if you could replace your heart with a fully functioning
heart that's gonna last like over 200 years, and you can drink Red Bull, whatever you want. Like,
yeah, I mean, it would just be crazy, and especially, I mean, if that were to ever come out, it would be so expensive at first, but eventually, like we talked about already, the standard of living makes things easier and easier to access for the.
Well, they'd probably be putting them in babies, like as protocol, like.
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's I like my.
It's scary to say that.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, my opinion though is kind of more along the lines of, we'll create technology and we'll kind of evolve with it rather than it leave us behind. Which, I think that's optimistic. As opposed to we create technology and then it kills us.
Yeah. Now,
I mean,
that you bring that up, it reminded me of like a conversation we had during the same time about like how we don't know like about this is gonna take so off track, but I just want to like say it for a second just to like get our juices flowing.
Okay.
So this is gonna be like pretty much. I mean, it's still on the topic of technology, I guess.
Yeah.
But we were talking about how like we don't know like what Wi-Fi waves or like the Wi-Fi that's in the air because like it's around you in your house or whatever. Like we don't know what that does to us in the future, and we're like. We don't care right now. Like we want cellular data. We want all these things.
I mean, it's comparable to when people would smoke cigarettes and they didn't think twice about it.
Oh,
they
yeah,
were
they didn't
around
know
it.
that, yeah.
So I mean, what do we not know? I mean, that is along the lines of technology. Just because as we move more and more into this frontier of new technology at all times, we don't know what's good for us. We don't know what's bad for us. We don't know that if we teach a robot how to program, is it going to destroy us or not? It's all uncharted territory, and that's kind of why it's such an interesting conversation to be had. It's no one really knows where 100 years from now humans will be, except I think automation has kind of been a key concept for the last 200 years, ever since the Industrial Revolution, really.
Are you big into like there's probably some future where we developed like time travel? So like why wouldn't we have like met somebody in time travel yet?
Oh yeah, you're talking about. Well, actually, to go on with that, they talk about time travel being possible, but only fast forwarding. Physicists have talked about that. You can't go back in time, as far as they know, so far. I definitely don't know. I mean, I'm not a physicist. But they talk about that, so I know exactly what you're talking about. Where if time travel was real, wouldn't somebody have told us? Wouldn't somebody have?
Okay, so you're saying it would only be ahead.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I really don't know too much on the subject, but
that would be scary to jump ahead.
That would be scary. What if you accidentally jumped like You jump too far, you like land on Earth, and it's all just craters, and you're just like,
Oh.
well, let me go back. Oh shoot. Yeah, but I mean, as far as AI,
It's so easy to get off topic here.
it is. I think what we should do is we should segment this out. So, I think as far as AI, I think we've kind of talked about the concepts. Maybe we can just wrap this one up and go into the next concept on the list. What do you think?
All right, so you want to wrap this one up, start a new one?
Right,
Yeah,
I think
all
so.
right.
All right, this has been Two Guys and a Mic, and we've been talking about AI. This is Nick,
This is Cody.
and thank you for stopping by.